Okay, honey, I'm just going to give these people an idea of where we live.
Okay.
Okay. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be precise about it, but you know. Okay, everybody. London, Grosvenor Road. Now, Grosvenor Road, postcode SW1. SW stands for Southwest, and normally the lower the number, the closer you are to like the centre. So it kind of means we're southwest of the centre, and it's number 1, so that's kind of close. I mean, for example, Buckingham Palace has the same postcode, or at least the same beginning of the postcode as we do, SW1, as does Westminster Abbey, that sort of area around there. It starts with SW1, and then you've got some letters and numbers after it that don't really kind of go down to the location. Well, maybe the street, but not the actual sort of area. So SW1 is it's kind of central, Anyway, here's the river, or part of it, River Thames. It's tidal up to about 10 miles up there. That's West Teddington. The tides, it's about 23 feet, about 7 meters, twice a day, and that's quite a bit. And when it comes in and out, it's fast flowing. Because I've been down this part here. When I go kayaking, I start from just up there, a few hundred yards, and normally go down, if we're heading in this direction, to say just past that first bridge. You can't see it because it's not lit up, but the bridge that's lit up is Chelsea Bridge. There's a bridge in front of it that maybe you can't see as well. That's the train bridge, because just over there to the right is Victoria Station. So I think that's the Grosvenor train bridge. And so when we go kayaking, we normally get to some point down there and sort of do a U-turn. And if we go in the other direction, I haven't done this yet actually, apparently the kayaks go to Westminster Bridge, somewhere around there, and there's like some sort of little exclusion zone outside the Houses of Parliament, that they don't want anything, including little kayaks, in that exclusion zone, watching the MPs get silly and drink too much beer and eat probably really decent food at taxpayers' expense. Okay, Grosvenor Road, that's the number 24 bus, goes up to Hampstead Heath. That's where it starts and finishes, and that's a bit touristy. I mean, it's a local transport, so it's not like a tour bus. But if you ever take that one, actually, when it leaves here and goes around the back of Buckingham Palace along Victoria Street, you'll see Westminster Abbey on the right, then Parliament Square, House of Parliament, Big Ben, up Whitehall, and on your left hand side you'll go past number 10 Downing Street, and then Horse Guards Parade, where you get those kind of fellas in the uniform on the horses. Then you come up to Trafalgar Square, around Trafalgar Square, up Charing Cross Road, through Camden ends up in Hampstead. So you see quite a few sights if you're on that bus, actually, especially if you're on the top deck and at the front, because they got the big windows. And of course, when you pick up a bus at the place where it starts and finishes, you're more likely to get the seat that you want. Anyway, so oh yeah, here we go, Battersea Power Station. Okay, it's not a functioning power station anymore, but you see all those, to the left of it, there's all those red lights, cranes. A lot of cranes, because that whole area there, 9 Elms, is for the last years and years and years, they've been building a lot of just what we need, right? More luxury apartments there as well. I mean, some of them are already occupied and finished, but you don't see many cranes over there, but you do over there, because there's still a lot of work going on over there. Big average size Waitrose over there. US Embassy is over there. That's Lisa's embassy, right? So this is what you're looking at is the south side of the river. So Battersea Power Station. In fact, they just opened a tube station a couple of weeks ago. Two new stations actually. One called Battersea Power Station. The other one called 9 Elms. They just opened them a couple of weeks ago. So things are happening over there. They really are. In fact, of the 4 chimneys, one of them is they're going to put a lift in it, if they haven't already done so. And there's going to be an observation deck at the top of it, which will be quite nice. It's not normally in red like that. They had something for the Euros 4 months ago when we got to the final. This is in red now because today is Sunday, the 11th of... No, it's not. What day is it? 14th, right? 14th of November 2021. Remembrance Sunday. Lisa and I went to the service at Westminster Abbey this morning. Westminster Abbey is normally closed on Sunday to visitors, but not for services. So we went in there, and so that's why that's all in red, because of poppies. And then if you can see, Alicia, you got one? You don't have one? Okay, here's poppies are red, like that fella there. Okay, so that's why Battersea Power Station is red like that. See, there's a train going from left to right into Victoria Station, and it's going over the railway bridge. Chelsea Bridge is lit up at night, as is the next bridge down, which is Albert Bridge. It's quite pretty, actually. Anyway, so that's the river. Do I talk about
trees?
Oh, plane trees. Yeah, no, plane. Yeah, you can normally tell from the bark, actually.
This must be a young one, but look at that.
Yeah, normally plane trees. Plane as in P-L-A-N-E, like aeroplane. These trees, they started planting them back, I think, around about 1858. There's some sort of amazing process in which they kind of absorb the pollution. Is this one? Normally you can tell because they sort of filter the rubbish out, the pollution, and the bark falls off and lands on the floor, and then it gets absorbed. And
the bark is what...
is this a plane tree? I don't think this one is, is it?
Look at it, it's flaking.
Oh, it's flaking? Okay, so, yeah, so if you see these big things, that one might be a young one up there. But there's a lot of them in London, because they do this great thing with the pollution. Okay, where do we live? Right, you're thinking SW1, you're thinking, wow, central London, it's going to be a bit more expensive. And it is a bit more expensive, to be honest. But it doesn't have to be as expensive as some of you might be thinking. There are some real horror stories, yes, and if you go into Mayfair, parts of Chelsea over there, Belgravia, parts of Kensington, then yes, it can be expensive. Over the river, it's different. I mean, there's all this luxury stuff here, but beyond it, prices sort of go down a little bit. So look at that, typical cyclist, 9:30 at night, no lights, he's on the pavement, and yet here is a bicycle lane, and on the other side as well, right? But there he is on the pavement. I mean, anyway, yeah, and so we live in an area called Pimlico, which is all of that straight in front of us. Used to be called, until about 70 years ago, Lower Belgravia, and then the Duke of Westminster sold that Lower Belgravia area. It's called Pimlico. It's now called Pimlico. So it's kind of, a little more expensive, I suppose, but not like Belgravia. But not all of it. Right in front of us, this was built in the early 50s. It's called Churchill Gardens, and it was built by the council. So when they built it, or the local authority, as some of you might call it, when they built it, it was all council/local authority, and cheaper. Now I believe it's 75% private and about 25% council, as over the years the council have sort of sold off some of the properties. Like, we live over there, and the lady lives 2 floors below us. She's got a 1-bedroom apartment. I think she's paying, it's £200 a month, and we have a 1-bedroom flat apartment, but we certainly are not paying £200 a month, that's for sure. Anyway, that's Churchill Gardens, and like these in front of us, I mean, you see the sort of view they have here. We're behind that, and I kind of like it. I mean, I had a few problems years ago because just next door is a private development called Dolphin Square. That's all private, and and really close to us, Buckingham Palace is just over there. It's really not far. Houses of Parliament, Westminster Abbey. It is close, and a lot of the members of Parliament would have flats in Dolphin Square, and some of them were buying the naughty stuff, and they were buying it on many occasions from people that lived here. gang members and all this kind of stuff. And I'm talking about drugs, you know, and blah blah blah. And this was about 10 years ago, and not so much now. But anyway, so about 10 years ago, it was leading to all sorts of problems, which don't really exist anymore. So it's a nice area, you know. We've got gardens front and back. We don't have to look at. We don't, you know, tend them. That all gets done. And you know, there's a kids area. There's a herbal garden which Lisa loves. Yeah, so that's where we are. And we're only. I mean, Lisa gets an hour for lunch. You know, takes her about 45 minutes to walk to Buckingham Palace and back. This morning, like if I was to walk to Westminster Abbey, it would take me in 20 odd minutes. Depends, you know, I could probably do it in a little bit less if I went a little fast, right? Anyway. Yeah, so, and from here, where we are now, to where we live, it's about 250 steps. So that's about 4 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we've showed everybody Battersea Power Station and explained why it's in red and all of that. And, yeah, so, location-wise, it's okay, isn't it?
It's brilliant.
Yeah, we got a lot. When you know, it doesn't take us long to walk to. It's only 10 minutes to walk to Sloane Square, Tube Station, Victoria, Pimlico. Yeah, so it's
20 minutes for me.
well, 20 minutes for Lisa. Yeah, depends how fast you walk, doesn't it? Anyway, so yeah, so this is sort of where we live, really. For now, I mean, things will change. And once we get back on the road, then we'll be staying in all sorts of places, no doubt. All right. Bye.